Right now, it feels like an altcoin apocalypse. Trust me, I feel your pain. It's not like I was a genius and saw this altcoin apocalypse coming, and I am also down right there with you guys. But here's the thing, not everybody's losing. If you can keep your finger on the pulse and see where things are moving, especially liquidity, maybe you can get an advantage. This is how we were able to get an advantage on the good calls that we had made before. The key is, of course, keeping those gains, which we will work on. But this is how traditional market cycles work, ebbs and flows. So we want to be there before the next flow. So you've got a lot of liquidity moving from Solana and Ethereum and other chains into a couple other ecosystems. We're going to talk about those three today and why there's so much attention moving to those ecosystems. So let's find out what is driving this shift and why are these three altcoins pulling in so much liquidity? And more importantly, is it early enough to get in before the next parabolic move up? This is going to be a good one. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's dive into it. And if you look at the altcoin markets for the top 100 on the daily, things look pretty red. So if we look at the crypto fear and greed index right now, we are typically where we want to see when we want to start accumulating. However, I want to put a caveat in here and say that it's not always the case that as soon as we dip into fear, it's a good time to start accumulating, but it's a good time to start paying attention. And we'll show you some other supporting posts and thoughts from other people on the show as well. But for me, I'm not totally convinced. And so with everything in this video right now, I want to give you a grain of salt here and say that my intention is to show you where attention is going, where liquidity is flowing, and what seems likely to be a good place to be positioned. However, I would express caution on making aggressive moves on anything right now based out of speculation on trying to perfectly time the bottom. Because as you can see here, the first time in a while that the crypto fear and greed index hits fear, it doesn't always just send the price skyrocketing. You can see here, if we zoom in just a little bit, you can see over here that back over here in the first time in a long time that it hit fear was over here in July. And then the price went up a little bit. You know, this is the Bitcoin price over here. You know, it went from like, I don't know, 30 to, what was it? It did go from, 57 to 67. People got pretty greedy really quickly, came back down. But the trend from this first greed section with a little pump, but then trended back downward again. And it really wasn't until the last time we saw this fear and greed index in this fear zone, kind of where we are now, to where we saw really crazy price growth from 60,000 all the way up after that until, essentially 108,000 or whatever it was, right? So we are in a zone where I'd say now is a good time to start accumulating cautiously DCA into the things that you really like. I'll summarize this in a second so you don't have to watch the whole thing. But this is...
¿Lo promocioné eso? Yo no lo promocioné. Yo lo que hice, lo difundí. Bueno, es lo mismo. No es lo mismo, no es lo mismo. Bueno, sacale promocionar, difundir. Está bien que el presidente difunda eso sabiendo los riesgos que tiene.
A ver. Okay, so that's Milei, right? And this is the translation. I'm kind of over the drama here, but we're going to talk about it a little bit. I just hope that it moves us in the right direction. I mean, I saw some crazy stuff today. An interview with this DeFi Tuna and Ben from Meteora. We'll talk about that in a second. But anyway, to sum up the interview with Milei, he said he acted in good faith. He really wants Argentina to be a tech hub. He is a techno-optimist, meaning that, he's really optimistic about tech and wanted to support it. And he made an analogy saying that if a new headquarters for a tech company was opening up, he would show up to support it. Doesn't mean that he's responsible for the operations of that new entity, right? And that's what he said. I believe that Milei was not the one value extracting on this. We know that Hayden and his team and all the snipers, everything that were involved, were the ones in maximum value extracting. We'll talk about that in just a second. And so Beanie over here talks about it's crazy, the kinds of things that it leaked over here. Basically Hayden saying, yeah, fellas, to be honest, we want to try to be max extract on this one. These founders, I don't know if they're bad guys or good guys. Normally they're very keyed in to the launch, but this guy is weird. It doesn't matter. There was this interview leaked with Vlad and Ben from Meteora, and we'll talk about that shortly. But this is the part that is crazy. Yeah, fellas, to be honest, we are trying to max extract on this one. That's really, really, really bad behavior. And I feel like he feels like he got caught. And now he's, we did the interview with Voidzilla, CoffeeZilla, and now they got caught. He's like, I don't want anything to do with this. But also, if you watch this interview down here from Solana Floor, Ryan Kumar has a good summary of it. It says, I watched a DeFi Tuna Meteor call, so you don't have to. Essentially, DeFi Tuna was working with Hayden on market making. DeFi Tuna is a market maker, and Hayden was doing shady things, but they weren't sure. The DeFi Tuna guy witnessed the Argentina launch. All Solana OGs were there and they were sniping. Ben acted very, very surprised, like he had no idea. But Ben from Meteora admits working with Hayden on all projects, including Melania and other ones that Kelsier and Hayden were involved in. Ben acts like he didn't know anything or anyone was sniping. Ben says he has to step down. 100% guarantee Hayden will snitch on each other real soon. So Ben from Meteora has resigned or stepped down. Meow 12 hours ago came out and said that, he didn't see any wrongdoing, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know. I'm reserving my own opinion. My opinion here doesn't really matter in this case. It's a shitty thing that happened. It's horrible. And really, we just need to mature as an industry. And I really hope that's going to be led by what's happening, in the US now, and we'll have more proper clarity on regulation. I thought this was really interesting too. This was kind of crazy. So Arkham breaks it down. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but the Chinese man burns $1.3 million worth of ETH, claiming an attack by brain-computer weapons. This morning, an address sent $1.3 million of ETH to a burn address, accusing some Chinese investors of brain-computer weapons. It is now completely unrecoverable. Did the brain-computer weapons make him do this? He also enclosed a message. This is a message on chain, so it'll be permanently on record on the blockchain. The CEO of Kunde Investments, Feng Qin and Chu Huizi, used brain-computer weapons to persecute all company employees and former employees, and even they themselves were controlled. The addresses appear to be controlled by Hui Lizi, who claims to be an ordinary programmer and entrepreneur. So in total, the address sent about $5 million to the burn address, WikiLeaks, and the Ethereum Foundation this week, and also sent some more to a Coinbase deposit address and $250,000 to a fresh address. I don't know. I would say it was to himself, but it wasn't to himself because unfortunately, this Chinese man did commit suicide as we go into this longer. So now he goes into this on-chain, messages on-chain. And basically he says he's an ordinary programmer and entrepreneur. When he realized the existence of my control organization, they also increased their harm to me. I've been very painful in the past 2 years. Now I've completely lost my dignity as a human being. I've decided to leave this world and hope that this ugly world will be destroyed soon. Well, that's sad and depressing, and I feel very sorry for this guy. But leads you to wonder, like, the hell? He said that brain-computer chips have been deployed militarily on large scale. All military powers are using base station radios and nano brain computer chips to control all citizens. Fuck, I do not know, but it's pretty crazy. So Moment over here says, what kind of world are we living in when a guy left an on-chain suicide note? So I don't have too much more to add on this guy's crazy story. Don't forget, guys, if you're looking for a really good exchange to go to, there is still 24 days left in this sign up or trading bonus. If you guys sign up for LBank using my affiliate code in the description below, you can get up to $500 trading bonus if you deposit $1,000 or more, or $100 if you deposit $500, $40 if you deposit $100. Not bad. Go try it out. Good interface, and they've been around for a very long time. And the other channel sponsor, guys, NordVPN. I use them every day when I travel around the world for all kinds of things. You need a VPN to protect yourself, your privacy. NordVPN also has threat protection and protects you from getting phishing attacks and visiting dangerous sites. And it costs like less than a cup of coffee every month. And if you sign up with my link in the description below, on the 2-year deal, you get 4 extra months for free. And it's really, really cheap. And it's the best VPN out there, in my opinion, guys. So these are the 2 channel sponsors. It would mean a lot and support the channel if you guys go and use those links if you're interested in those products. And we have FTX Distribution happening today. Remember, it's a small amount of the total. It's for anyone who had lost less than $50,000 and mostly going to the hands of altcoin holders. Is this going to cause the market to move up? No, I don't think this will. But when they start repaying the bulk majority of it, which is going to be this, that's going to be more market moving, right? Q2 likely. We still don't know for sure, but some FTX repayments. So if you guys were part of the FTX saga, I was, but I was in the class that wasn't the $50,000 section, right? And so everything has been hit hard this year. Year to date, the section that we have been talking about the most, unfortunately, has been hit the hardest, which is this DeFi section and AI agents, et cetera, et cetera. They don't even talk about memes on here. Oh yeah, they do. They do. So 43%. But everything's been down pretty bad, except for Bitcoin holding on strong. But as Elio Trade says, the timeline sentiment has only been bad near macro bottoms. Do with this what you will, but he is optimistic as F. And I am too. I'm optimistic. I just don't know the time frame, right? I just don't know the time frame. So, we'll continue to do our research and bring you guys daily updates on things like liquidity. I'll let you know when I get a bit more like, okay, here we go again. For now, because I think a lot of the money is sitting on the sidelines waiting for regulation and clarity on how to move forward. People were so scared about the SEC and stuff before. They're petrified. And it's still taking a toll on the market right now. We're seeing that, which also leads me to believe that we're going to have probably an extended market cycle. Maybe no longer are we following the exact 4-year cycle, but maybe this one's going to be extended a bit. And like I said in the video yesterday, maybe means we go into super cycle, right? There's lots of talk of Bitcoin going to 500,000, 700,000 this year, 1 million this year. If this happens, if that happens, if sovereign wealth funds around the world start allocating 2 to 5%, then Bitcoin goes to 1 million. A lot of these ifs, ands, maybes, we'll see. So now, guys, where is liquidity going? Well, from Solana and Ethereum, you can see a lot of it is going. Number one, that's receiving this is Arbitrum, but this is actually Hyperliquid, right? And I wish this would be more clear, but it's not. I think it's because Hyperliquid was forked from Arbitrum or something like that. So it seems, and that's how you get liquidity. You have to go to Arbitrum first and then to Hyperliquid. And so you can see that the biggest beneficiary from the outflows from both Ethereum and Solana are going to Hyperliquid. Ethereum is getting a fair amount from Solana as well. Yeah, so those are the biggest receivers. So Hyperliquid, obviously, people are very, very bullish on. I'm getting more bullish. It seems like we covered it. It seems like a project that was quite fairly and egalitarianly launched, built an amazing product with real use case. And as Flood over here says, Hyperliquid has never been better positioned. ETH UX is horrific for newbies. It's totally is controlled by a cabal of losers. Hopefully that improves. Sol UX is good, but controlled by a cabal of criminals. Hyperliquid, good UX, more profitable than both chains, hundreds of billions, Hyperliquid. So just to give you some context here on the kind of numbers that the exchange Hyperliquid is processing on a daily basis, it's 8% of Binance's daily volume, 20% of Bybit, 50% of Gate, 175% of Coinbase, 23% of OKX, and 600% of Kraken daily volume, which is insane. Insane. It's just insane, right? And the way that they have buybacks and things going give you a lot of reason to be very bullish on it. So this new product goes live today called Unit. It's a decentralized asset tokenization layer for all of finance built exclusively on Hyperliquid. Unit will enable seamless deposits, withdrawals, and trading for a wide variety of assets. Our first integration allows major spot crypto tokens to flow between Hyperliquid and their native blockchains, launching today with native BTC. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens when native BTC goes into Hyperliquid. Now, word of caution here, like this is awesome in my opinion. For me, I just wouldn't trust personally my own Bitcoin in new smart contracts. If this thing gets a lot of TVL, imagine a lot of Bitcoin and get the smart contracts, and then there's an exploit and someone steals those Bitcoin, like is any amount of APY worth you losing your Bitcoin? In my mind, no. But I bet a lot of traders will probably end up doing this. So just a word of caution, it took me a long time to trust Aave. I'm still, have my, a bit squeamish, but like Aave's been around for a very long time and hasn't had any major incidents since, long before I put my assets in there. Yeah, it took me a while to build that type of confidence. But you can see Hyperliquid also has a really booming ecosystem. And what I looked for immediately when I went in here was something like a borrowing and lending platform, because let's face it, like Hyperliquid is already very, very expensive. However, in context, maybe it's not that expensive, right? Could it go to $1 trillion valuation? Probably. Could there still be a 20, 30, 40, 50x in this? Maybe, right? So would I like to get some exposure? I think I would. I don't have any yet. What I would like to do maybe is try one of these looping strategies like Aave on something like I was looking for something like this Hyperlend or this Hyperdrive, and I'll probably play around with those over the next week or so. I'm not in any rush right now, but I would like to see if I can try the same kind of stuff I do in Aave over on Hype, and I'll maybe allocate some capital and do this borrow stablecoin, buy some more Hype, and do a little bit of leverage over there. Probably. Again, it's still pretty early. Most of the world hasn't jumped in yet. I will also put a link at the end of this video and maybe in the description below on my video on Hyperliquid if you want more of a deep dive. I covered it in pretty good depth, not like super deep dive, but it was good. So Dan Smith over here says, application revenue serves as indicator of success for business within an ecosystem. Here's a weekly update. Solana and the week over week change. Solana, $85 million revenue, up 15%, right? And then BNB up 61%, Ethereum down 47%, and Base down 33%. Not good, and good for BNB. Really, this is what we wanted to kind of draw your attention to. BNB, which has been kind of dead this entire bull run, but thanks to CZ coming back. Welcome CZ back from the depths of prison, and he's out here being an evangelist for the chain that he built, as he should be. So this agent, that's like the AI XBT of BNB, says, exciting news from BNB Chain. The AI agent competition is here. Spotlight innovation AI agents on BNB Chain developers. This is your chance to shine with your AI creations. Compete for recognition and drive the future of decentralized tech. Let's innovate together. Okay, so as you know, CZ over here with 1.3 million impressions. I'm not trying to push any specific AI agent tokens, but want to see more AI agent development on chain with real use cases. Real development often happens after the hype has passed. And that's true, right? Whenever we see a new narrative come, and there's a lot of people who take advantage, again, like value extractors on these new narratives, and then people actually come and build real cool stuff. This is why I like a lot of the decentralized AI infrastructure that I've told you guys about time and time again. Like it's not just like a wrapper of something. Like they're really building a lot of real utility. You can see that in GitHub and a lot of people who are building together. And that's what I like to see about those projects. As you can see though, guys, on the daily BNB, and this is when, CZ and really it just started, like last week, it's had a real good pump and now a little bit of a correction, but you can see it has been performing quite well as a lot of attention is going back to the BNB chain. So if you're curious over there, something to check out. Of course, BNB and Binance does quarterly buybacks to burn the token. So the BNB token is always a good bet. It's a blue chip and it's still world's number one exchange. Hyperliquid might be coming for it. And I would love to see the day where decentralized exchange does. So the next one we're going to talk about is Sonic. We've been talking about this for a while. Remember, Phantom rebranded to S or Sonic. And Axel Bitblay says, in just 2 months, on-chain metrics at Sonic have literally gone parabolic. TVL went from 11 million to 414 million, volume from 200K to 40 million, revenue from 0 to 110,000. Keep in mind, of course, revenue from 0 to, because the chain just launched, right? This new Sonic chain, it's a new one. It's the fastest EVM chain. Talk about that in a second. But if you look at price performance on the 7-day, so for the past week of these layer ones, Sonic has done the best with almost 28% price performance, which is pretty impressive compared to the rest of them. And Crypto Choreo over here says, in the last 7 days, Sol was worst performing L1. Sonic is a top performing L1. Meme coins are not having a good time, and Solana is the home of meme coins with all the rug pulls, insider trading by Solana teams happening. The consensus to long Sol and short ETH trade of 2024 is now flipped to long ETH and short Sol. So, this is what I talked about in the show yesterday as well. Kapoor over here says, weekly on-chain activity on Sonic has increased by 1,415%. This is reflective of massive rise in user engagement and trading volume, with TVL hitting 400 million and daily volume steadily above 50 million. Sonic is gaining ground rapidly. So Martini guy over here, it says, while other chains chase memes, Sonic is building the fastest, highest performing EVM chain, 10,000 TPS with sub-second finality. So blazing fast EVM chain. Devs earn 90% of network fees. This is very, very, very bullish for people building good stuff. So if you build an application that has a lot of on-chain activity, then you as a dev are going to be making a lot of that revenue. Fantastic. If you're a really good dev, you can take that revenue and put it back into token buybacks and your token's going to pump. That's what I would do. And as Martini guy says, probably one of the most important is that all S tokens are in circulation. There's no more unlocks from investors, just demand. That is a very, very bullish thing. No more investor unlocks or team unlocks or anything, just demand. So now, if we look at this looks fantastic, right? But this is going from the chain so it doesn't really show the true history of Phantom, right? To be fair. But since Sonic launched, TVL has been up only pretty dramatically. Now, I am very bullish on Sonic. I haven't really tried it yet very much, but actually I haven't tried it at all, to be fully transparent. But those who have, and mostly because I've been out and building stuff, I don't have a whole lot of time to try things, but people who do say it's a really great user experience. And the fact that everything is EVM compatible means that everything from Ethereum can easily migrate over to Sonic. Now, I want to show you guys a couple things, to be fair. You guys can also go to Dune and check out yourself. Look at Sonic Labs, Sonic Overview Dashboard, so you can make the opinions yourself. And I'm not just cherry picking the most important and most impressive chart, because it is very impressive, that TVL chart. So when you look at like week over week of active addresses, this is a weekly, you do have 17,000 new addresses in a week. That last week, 11,000 new addresses. So new addresses. One of the things that I think is interesting to pay attention to, though, is this chart here. So number of addresses on chain that have done just one transaction. That's almost 500,000. And then you have another 140,000 that have done between 1 and 3 transactions, and 75,000 that have done 3 to 5 transactions. And then, now you have 18,000 users who have done 50 plus, so like more like power users over here. So this gives you a better picture of actual usage. I'm not saying this is a bearish thing. I'm just trying to show you how to use this chart so you can, and you can see it's trending up here as well a little bit. But just so you guys can have some data so you can go check it out yourself. Now, this is, in my opinion, is why I believe that we see all of these addresses. At least one is people airdrop farming, because you can see that there's a $112 million airdrop coming soon. If you want to learn how to be eligible, go to soniclabs.com/airdrop. Now, this is cool though. There is a hackathon essentially from Dora Hacks for DeFi, FAI hackathon, $300,000 prize pool. Should bring some awesome developers over to Sonic. This is good. This is what you want to see. This is what an ecosystem should be doing, by the way. I'm giving them praise here, even though it might seem like on surface level, maybe like, oh, this is deceptive stuff. No, this is what you have to do to bring people into an ecosystem, is you have to bring in and incentivize devs, smart people, users, TVL, et cetera, et cetera. And of course, this is biased, but it comes from the Sonic Assistant saying the rotation out of Solana going to be incredible. Thanks for onboarding millions to crypto. Now it's time to let them roam free beyond Cabal tokens and insider dumps. Let me red pill you on Sonic Labs and at ticker S. So I am bullish on Sonic. I'm bullish on layer ones. I've told you guys in videos before, and you can see the chart is looking very, very good too. For the past, since it looked like it kind of bottomed around the 8th of February. So for 10 days, it's been almost up only, little correction now. But in my opinion, I expect this to continue to head up. Not financial advice, of course, guys. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up today, guys. I hope that you learned a lot. Do me a favor and destroy that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. I'll catch you tomorrow.